Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is match 3 of Soldiers, Goblins, Fairies, Dogs, and Cats. It's been a pretty fun matchup these last couple games because they have all done relatively decent, pumping out tokens and or just getting out creatures pretty quick, smashing into each other with a little bit of interactions, more interactions last game. It's fun to see which one can get through first. And I'm also pleased that it was two different winners in the first two games. Now, who knows what this is going to be, but I like to see more than one deck win within these matchups just because it shows you the deck's better. And I don't want to just have one deck that just stomps everything else. That's no fun. It's better if the decks are all evenly matched and you can have some fun back and forth. I rolled the dice and is going to jump into match 3. Draw for turn. Going to play Fair Baliska. Comes in tapped and taps for a white. I can also tap and sack it with some extra mana to draw a card. We'll pass turn. Draw over here. Mountain into a Soul Ring that I just top decked. Pretty solid. Then we will pass turn. Draw for the fairies. Play an island for turn. And pass. Draw over here for Ridden Siri. We will play Yago Seat of the Empire. Taps for a white, or you can channel it, which is discarding and paying mana, but we're clearly skipping that part because we're not discarding it. No one drops though, so we'll pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play an island and go ahead and get started. We'll play Harbin, Vanguard Aviator. Flying 3/2 whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain flying until end of turn. That's all we can do though, so we will pass. Untap over here, upkeep, draw. I will play a mountain for turn. Then I will tap Soul Ring to play the Arcane Signet I just drew, and tap all 3 to play Krenko, Tin Street Kingpin. A 1/2, but whenever he attacks, put a counter on him, one counter, then create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to Krenko's power. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw over here. We're going to play an Evolving Wilds, cracking it for a white. We put planes on the battlefield tapped, and we will pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. Reliquary for turn, but nothing else we can do, so we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Sea of Clouds comes in tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. I do. I have a play, but I really want to hold off onto it for one more turn because I need something else out first. So we're going to pass. Well, no, we want to attack. We're going to go ahead and swing at Krenko. It's only 3 commander. We need to get started on that. And even though he's going to definitely crack back on us because of that, we'll pass turn, untap, upkeep, draw, play a mountain, tapping 3 for an arcane or for a Bonders Ornament. We're really ramping hard in goblins. Then I will tap 2 and play Goblin Bombardment. You can sacrifice a creature, and Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. Then I will tap my last 2 mana and play Battlecry Goblin. A 2/2, I can pay 1 and a red. Goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. I guess I should have done that instead of Goblin Bombardment, but it's fine. We're going to move to combat. We're absolutely swinging at you since you hit me. Franco gets a counter and then pops out 2 Goblin creature tokens. And so it begins. You will take 2 commander damage and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Play another island. I'll tap 2 and play Talisman of Dominance. Taps are colorless, or I can tap it for a black or a blue, and it'll do 1 damage to me if I do so. Now, this time around, as I've said in the last couple of videos, I would normally wait until Alayla is out before I drop any artifacts, but that means she comes out on turn 4, which is what she's going to come out on this time. And plus, I don't have any more lands in my hand, so I kind of needed to get something ready. I could play one more. Yeah, I think I will. Even though it's an artifact, we're going to tap a 2 and go Metallic Mimic. A 2/1. As it enters the battlefield, we choose a creature type. We're choosing fairies. It is a fairy in addition to its other types, and now any creature you control of the chosen type that enters the battlefield comes in with a +1/+1 counter on it. That's all we can do here. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw. I will play Rockfall Vale. Comes in tapped unless I control 2 other lands. I do. Tapping all 3 to play a Chromatic Lantern. That's all we can do there. We're going to pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. I'll play. Nope, gotta do this right. I will play another planes, well, a planes, tapping all 4 to play Door of Destinies choosing soldiers. So now, every time I cast a soldier, it will get a counter on it. And each soldier gets +1/+1 for each counter on Door of Destiny. Currently, of course, it doesn't have any on it, and we should probably, as much as I want to go swinging, we're going to have to leave something up to try and block whatever he sends back. So we will pass turn. Considering all the ramp we've been doing over here, Goblins is definitely set up to do some damage this game. We're going to untap, upkeep, draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to play Caged Sun, choosing red. Creatures you control the chosen type or chosen color get +1/+1, and whenever a land's ability adds 1 mana of the chosen color, you add an additional one of that color to the mana pool. Shoot, I went so fast now I don't know if I played a land. Pretty sure I drew a card and then immediately started tapping for Caged Sun. Because I want to play Temple of the False Gods, which is not online, but just to get it out of my hand. So we technically have 2 available mana, not really going to helpful right now. So we will move to combat, and we are going to go ahead and swing Krenko at you one more time. It's going to get a counter. It's 2, 3, and 4. It's a 4/5 coming at you. If you block it, you would not kill it, and you would die. So it might not be a good idea, but we're going to take the 4 damage. But on doing that, I get 1, 2, 3, 4 more goblins. That's just on the declaration of attack. And technically, I think I would have also sent these 2 goblins at Ridden Series, so they take 2. I do need to get better at declaring all attackers before I start doing things for the channel. I do it better when in actual games because I know better, but when I'm walking you guys through my thought process, I kind of go one creature at a time. And you can't really do that. You got to make sure that you're saying, I'm sending these, I'm sending this. Then you start doing the things. But it is whenever it attacks, it goes up and makes the creatures. So that does actually happen at that moment. We've taken all the damage. There's nothing else we can do. Granted, I should have and could have activated his battle cry ability. Again, I didn't, so we will not worry about that. Pass turn. But that really worked out perfectly. I should have done that because of having that extra 2 mana. So we're going to untap over here. Upkeep, draw. Yes. So I'm going to tap for black, take a damage, and then tap the rest to cast Alayla, Artful Provocateur. She's a 2/3 flying Death Touch lifelink. Other creatures with flying get +1/+0, and whenever you cast an artifact or enchantment, you make a 1/1 fairy. Now, because of Metallic Mimic's ability, she's going to come in with a +1/+1 counter on her. We could swing the Metallic Mimic somewhere, but it would be useless. It would just be attacking them for no reason. Wouldn't get through there, wouldn't get through there. So we're going to go ahead and pay. Untap, upkeep, draw. I will play a Plains for turn here, tapping 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Thran Dynamo. Then we will tap for green in Thran Dynamo with 1 floating to cast Beastmaster's Ascension. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster's Ascension. As long as it has 7 or more counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. Now, playing it this early without any actual creatures out pretty much makes it a target. Definitely the enchantment and you in general. But I wanted to try and play as much as I could using the mana available before I start getting Ren and Siri out, so we'll see. But that is all we can do, so we will pass. Untap, upkeep, draw turn over here. Going to play an island for turn. I will tap 1, 2, 3 and play Goldbug, Humanity's Ally. It is a robot. It's not a soldier. I keep forgetting it's not a soldier. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt to attacking humans you control. And most of my soldiers are humans. That's why it's in the. But regrettably, it doesn't affect Door of Destinies. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you can convert Goldbug. I do not have anything else that's really worth playing. Now that I have a blocker, though, I will send Harbin in the air at you again. So another 3 commander damage. We're going to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We're going to tap this for 2 red mana, thanks to Caged Sun, and Bonder's Ornament for 1 more to play Flick a Coin. It deals 1 damage to any target. You create a treasure token, and you draw a card. So what's 1 target? Well, you know what? We're going to blast that, so you don't get those incoming buffs. That's a big hit. Then we're going to make a treasure and draw a card. We'll just say that's our little treasure token. Now we drew into, oops, these are untapped, and this is a total of 6 right now. Clean up the board state a little bit here. We do actually have another draw spell that we just went into. So let's try it. I will tap Arcane Signet for 1 red mana to play Faithless Looting. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. The problem is I only have 1 card in hand, So I'm going to have to end up discarding most of what I draw. We'll get rid of Rigging Runner, and I guess Raid Bombardment, although that is a really good card for this deck. But we did see it before, and I hate repeating stuff. Then I will tap a red for 2 red, and then Soul Ring with 1 floating to play Hobgoblin Bandit Lord, a 2/3 that other goblins you control get +1/+1, and you can pay a red and tap it. Deals damage equal to the number of goblins that entered the battlefield under your control this turn to any target. Now, it can't do that this turn because it has Summoning Sickness, but that's good to remember for next turn and going forward. And we have to remember that we can activate Battlecry Goblin this time around, which we are just going to do right now, and say, Goblins you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. That's a blanket effect, and whenever Goblin Battlecry attacks, if you attacked with creatures with total power 6 or greater, you create a 1/1 goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. So this is going to be a real big hit. So we're going to move to combat. We're going to send Krenko at you. Now we have to, let's try and make everything. So goblins you control have +1 and have haste, so everything's going to be able to attack. Swinging out is probably not that big of a deal because there's not that many creatures for a crackback. So we are absolutely going to send everything everywhere. Everything everywhere all at once. The board game, or the tabletop game. I'm going to send all 6 goblins. You know what? Just for safety's sake, I'm sending all 6 goblin tokens at you. Franco is going at you this time, and these 2 goblins are going at you. However, on declaration of attack, this goes up by 1, and I make 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more goblins that, oh, by the way, have haste. This is well, wait, when it attacks. So that's at the actual, yeah, so that these still won't be able to attack. They have haste, but it's after we're into the declaration stage. So unfortunately, we won't be able to swing with these. However, Battlecry's other ability says that if we attack with power more of 6 or more, we make 1 more goblin token tapped and attacking. And it just says tapped and attacking. It doesn't really say who it's attacking. But as I said, Krenko is going at you. These 6 are going at you, and we'll just say all 3 of these are going at you. Now we can go ahead to the blocker stage. Goldbug will block 1 of the goblins. However, they are currently 1, 2, 3, 4. So if he blocks, they're 4/4. So Goldbug can't even really. But we don't want to take that much damage, so we will. We'll block 1, meaning 20 damage is going to come through. Then Krenko is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commander damage going at you. And then we've got some others buffs over here. 2, 3, 4. So this is a 4/5. Then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a 5/4 probably. And then this goblin is a 1, 2, 3, 4. They are 3. So basically, Alayla can't kill anything. Well, she does have Death Touch, so she can kill whatever she wants. Obviously, I guess she'll block the Hobgoblin to get rid of that constant buff at least. And by the way, with Battlecry, it just says pay red and 1, and they get +1/+0. So I could conceivably just dump all of my doubled mana into that next turn and crank it up to the point where they're getting like 10/10 or something like that, which is probably what they'll do, but we'll see. So I guess in that sense, I guess the smart move would then be to block that instead, now that I've said it out loud. But now the question is, like, would that character really think that through? With a 4-player game and goblins just taking the lead so quickly and so strongly, the other characters would probably be like, yeah, but Battlecry Goblin can buff them multiple times. So it's like, I really don't want to change the target of my block at this point because that's kind of forcing goblins to lose. Not lose, but taking away what I, originally said. But here's a good learning point is that as a blocker, you need to ask and think about these things. You can't be just like, that one's the one, that's a constant 1/1. That just get it 1+ because you pumped into it. I'm blocking this. You need to stop and think, what is the optimum target? And if you don't know what your opponent's cards do, you ask them to read before you do it. Like you can't be like, no, you have 3 seconds to declare blockers and that's it. It's like, no, you can take your time and decide what's right. So you need to know what everything does. I really don't want to change the target because I kind of stumbled. I did it the wrong way, and I hate And as I've said 1,000 times, I'm very hit or miss on what I roll back and what I change when I make mistakes. I try not to roll things back if it's too far gone. This isn't. It's still really in the declared blocker stage, but we did start taking damage. So we're just going to say that's what we did. Just let it, that's what happens. So this is going to die, but so will this. And it's now 2 more to cast. So 2, this happens at the instance all at the same time. So it still has the buff when everything's collide. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, it says goblin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're taking 9 damage. Pretty solid hit. And I remember we have goblin bombardment, so at any point, if someone's going to do a board wipe, which this is going to be super hard for me to remember, but if someone does a board wipe, we can just sacrifice everything to goblin bombardment and deal a ton of damage to whoever's doing the board wipe. That's all we can do. We're going to go ahead and pass turn. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. It's not a land that we really needed. So we'll just unfortunately tap 3, play Heraldic Banner, choosing blue. So creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+0, and it taps for 1 mana of any of the chosen color. So it taps for blue. I do have 2, so I might as well just tap them to play Lightning Greaves. Not that it really makes too much difference, but it's just, and again, I should wait, blah, 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 but I don't think we're going to have the chance, so we're going to go ahead and pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn. Okay, so everything taps for whatever colors we want. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Ridden Siri, Inseparable. A 4/4 that says whenever you cast a dog, you make a 1/1 cat. Whenever you cast a cat, you make a 1/1 dog. And you can pay red, green, white, and tap Ridden Siri to deal damage equal to the number of dogs you control and gain life equal to the number of cats you control. I will tap Thran Dynamo for 2 with 1 floating to play Arcane Signet. I will use the 1 floating plus 2 more and play Mirror Entity, a 1/1 changeling, which is all creature types. So that means it's coming in, I'm casting a cat and a dog, which means I make a cat and a dog token. And Mirror Entity says I can pay X, and until end of turn, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX and gain all creature types. So that's pretty awesome. However, I'm tapped out. There's nothing else I can do. We're going to have to pass. Untap, upkeep, draw for turn, another island. We're flooded literally with islands. Okay, not literally, because then I would be dead. But we've got 3 islands in our hand. I only have 5 cards total. And there's really no point, and yeah, this is not looking good. We'll go out swinging. We'll totally swing 3 more in the air at you, but unfortunately, that's it. We'll pass turn. Now this is the goblins that everyone's scared of. So 7 and 7, so it's going to be 14 total goblins. However, I am top decking, so we're going to draw for turn. That's not bad. I will tap these 3, Arcane Signet and Soul Ring, to play Squee Dubious Monarch. The 2/2 with haste, whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. You may cast him from the graveyard by doing some stuff, blah, blah. So now, as we said before, we're going to tap all of our black mana. Well, then we just lost the game because that's an illegal deck. We're going to tap all of our red mana for 6 total red mana. This is still not online, unfortunately, because we have not gotten any more land. So that means we can tap Bonder's Ornament for 1 extra, but really that won't help matters, so we might as well not. So it's just going to be 3 instances of this. So all of our creatures are going to get +3/+0 and have haste. We're going to move to combat, swinging. Now we need to do the math, of course, to see how many people we can take out at once. I believe this should work. What we're going to do is we're going to send 6 goblins at you. You have no defenses whatsoever. You don't even have any open mana to play anything. They are currently, we buffed them by 3, 4, and they are 1/1. So that means they are 5/5s. 6 5/5s is 30. You have 30 life. That's going to kill you. I'm going to send Krenko and 8 5/5s at you. You can only block 4 of them, which means 4 5/5s get through for 20 damage. Well, actually, you're most likely going to block Krenko, so that means 5 would get through for 25 damage. Then I'm going to send Squee, Battlecry Goblin, and the 2 tapped and attacking goblins that each of those create at you. You can only block 1 of them. You'll obviously block Battlecry, but it doesn't matter because Battlecry is like a 6 something, so it'll block with Gold Bug, and that'll die. So let's do this one at a time so I'm making sure I got everything right. So these 6 go at you. Boom. Done. Exactly 30 damage. You're taken care of. Krenko, which is goes to combat. 4, 5, 6, plus another 3 is 9. That's going to make another 9 goblins that cannot attack because they come in after the declaration of attacking step, even though they have haste. But this is a 4, 5, well, we said it's 9. So 9 coming at you. You'll obviously block with Rin Siri. Well, no, it doesn't have trample, so you'll block with the little dog. Then you've got 8 5/5s coming at you. Block with one of them with the cat, block with that. And then if you did block with Rin and Siri, Rin and Siri will still die, and you'll have to recast it for 2 extra. But that means 3 of these are blocked, 5 damage gets through, that's 25 damage. Down to 6. And finally, you've got 10 damage coming at you from this, Squee and Battle Cry. You're going to block Battle Cry with Gold Bug, that dies, of course. So then you take the 10 damage here, and then Squee is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's it. -2 damage there, boom. And you're like, okay, that was pretty good, but Rin and Siri might come back. No, 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 my friend, because we have Goblin Bombardment. At our second main phase, we just destroy all 9 of these untapped. Well, actually, we do this, a smart move, just in case, of course, being you destroy these 6 goblins that have already did their damage, dealing 6 damage to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom. You are done. And there you have it. Record time. Goblins win. And see, again, this is the kind of goblin interaction that everyone's scared of. However, let's look at the numbers. This is the 3rd matchup we've played. This is the first time Goblins has done this crazy. Goblins has definitely done well each game and become a target at certain points and gotten beat down, but they've gotten beat down. This was the first time that everyone else just didn't go fast enough to counteract them or get the right removals, and they just buffed themselves perfectly to go crazy. Now, I hope I didn't make any mistakes in the math anywhere, but I don't believe I did. Of course, I always say that, and there's always some sort of something wrong with each episode. Always a few misplays, but I'm playing 4 decks at once, so you gotta give me some leeway. Come on, give me a break. But yeah, so that was really awesome. I'm really pleased to see it go that crazy, because at least it lived up to the hype that everyone says. You basically have to play every game based on what's happening in the game. Don't play your games based on what you think someone's deck can do, what they should have in there, and what they did last game, blah blah. It's one thing to hit somebody first that won last game, as everybody does that. That's fine. That's just good natured goofing around. It's like, okay, you won last game, so I'm gonna hit you first for 2 damage, and then maybe everyone else at the table does it too. So okay, too cool. You took like 5, 6 damage in the first like 2, 3 turns. It's like whatever. But then everyone just goes back to playing the game regular. You don't just harp on someone because they won last game, regardless of what they're doing. And again, you really shouldn't go, well, I've seen CEDH decks, or I've seen, professional content creators that have these amazing Goblin decks or amazing Rin and Siri decks that just go crazy. So you're playing that type of deck. I'm going to assume you have a card for card copy of that deck and are magically getting the perfect cards you need. So I'm going to take you out first. It's like, no, that's not fair. You play the game based on the actual interaction. As I said, I should not soapbox and prattle on. We had a nice quick game. We don't need to make an extra 20 minutes of me flapping my mouth. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw some cool cards and some interesting interactions that you want to try in your decks. Please look around the rest of my site. Maybe give a subscribe if you're not already. And I will see you next time.